wanted to do a quick review of this car. It's a 2003 Mk4 R32, 5-door, anthracite grey wheels, naturally aspirated 3.2 litre V6. 4-wheel drive, Volkswagen's 4-motion Haldex system. I've actually had a Mk5 R32 before this. That was a DSG, this is a manual, and this is much more of an animal than that car. I'll take you for a drive in it, show you a little bit of points that are different about this particular car, and what to look out for if you're in the market for one as well. Typical Mk4 problem lays here with the boot door release. This can rust along this top edge and inside the actual barrel of the key release. Check that the Golf that you're buying unlocks here with the key and that the boot doesn't open when the central locking is locked. The standard Golfs have the same radiators fitted as these, but obviously this engine's a lot bigger. So have a look, see if it's been under any stress and if there's any leaks and whether it's being well kept under the radiator section. A lot of people are tempted to fill the arch a little bit more back here by way of some spacers, making it look a little bit more aggressive. It might look good, but with these being the 4-wheel drive Haldex system, it can mess about with the central diffs. Be wary of anything that's got spacers on it, make sure it's been maintained, make sure the Haldex system's been regularly serviced. Probably can't see this very well with it pissing it down here in Yorkshire today, which is pretty typical actually. A lot of Mk4s have a little bit of water ingress in the top of this windscreen seal here. Have a look that it's not got too bad. This one's got a little bit of it, but you can see that it's not actually made any difference to the seal on the windscreen. Typical problem, it should be fine, just make sure it's not too bad. A lot of Mk4s, no matter what age they are, getting on a bit now. This particular one's 16 years old, so it's going to have a bit of wear and tear in here, bums getting in and out and whatnot. This particular car's got the half leather, half Alcantara seats, which tends to hold up a lot better than the leather, especially ones at this sort of mileage. This one's got about 111,000 on it, and the seats have held up quite well. A lot better than a leather interior car would have done. This particular Golf's got the Miltek exhaust on it. D-cat, it sounds absolutely spot on. It's got a little bit of a rumble, boomy sound under 3,000 RPMs. It can get a bit annoying on the motorway, but it's the sort of thing that you deal with just because of the car that it is. Be a bit careful with any Golf that's got a Miltek exhaust installed on it. This particular car has the engine management light on because of the excess exhaust flow from the D-cat. It's nothing to worry about, but if you're going to go and look at one, I'd suggest maybe taking some sort of ECU reader and just to make sure that that's the only code that's thrown up. I've had this about 4 months now and it's not been any problem with it. It's not lost any power. There's no flat spots or anything like that to worry about. Right, I'll fire it up and go for a bit of a run. There's obviously two types of body type of R32. There's this one which is a 5-door, and then there's obviously there's the 3-door. The 3-door, from experience, I've actually had a GTI, not an R32, and the doors are massive. They tend to sag a little bit. The hinges aren't strong enough for the size of the door. That's another thing obviously to look out for when you're buying something. I personally don't think it makes much difference to the body shape. I know a lot of purists like the 3-door. I'd rather have doors that are not going to fall apart after 100,000 miles rather than just a little bit of that extra style in there with the 3 doors. You get that little crackle as well just as you let off the accelerator. Gets a lot of attention as well, this car. People that kind of into their cars, that know a little bit about cars, you kind of see them side-eyeing it a little bit, you know. It's especially in this colour, it attracts a lot of attention. You see there, so just sort of under 3,000 RPM, so we went to 4th, you see what I mean? Just under 3,000, it's just a little bit boomy with that exhaust there. You can sort of hear it booming a little bit, and it can drone on, especially when you're on the motorway, it can get quite annoying. But then when you prop it into 3rd, just over 3,000 you get that rasp then again, and it just livens up and sounds really nice. I'm just going to have a go doing this Vitara. more than 30. It is a V6 in the end, you know, the V6 are notoriously bad on fuel. Got another slow coach here, I'm going to do him in as well. Really does sound good once you get it up in the rev range. And on these country roads like this where it's a bit tight, it's just great, it just comes into its own. And power's always there, you're not waiting for any turbos or anything to spool up, it's just always there. One guy, when I was selling this car, put off by the amount of owners it's had. It's had 9 owners including me, and you find that a lot with these sort of cars. R32s, M3s, RS5s, RS3s, S3s, whatever. Them sort of performance cars, a lot of people, they just can't afford to keep them. Obviously I'd be wary about any car that's got a high amount of owners, but as long as it's been well maintained, the service history's all there, there's all the paperwork there with it, receipts, whatever. It's had the Haldex done, it's had the oil filters changed, you know, it's had the timing chain changed at some point. They're a chain driven engine, obviously, these, not a belt driven, but it still needs looking at after about 100,000 miles. As long as it's had all that done, you're alright. Fuel economy wise, don't ask about fuel economy. It's a V6 at the end of the day, notoriously bad on fuel. Probably getting around about 23, 24 miles to the gallon, that's what this is doing at the moment. I have been ragging it a little bit there, as you can see, to get those exterior shots. This has got Koni adjustable springs on it, this car as well, which give it a little bit of a firm ride. It's not that bad, it does feel supple. My girlfriend hates it, she complains about the ride all the time. But my other car at the moment is a 750i BMW V12. You know, it's probably the smoothest car that you're going to ever sit in. So in comparison to that, this is going to feel like you're riding on stones. Don't bother me while I'm driving it. Passengers might not like it, but it's a driver's car at the end of the day. Just to finish off then, if you're looking at getting a Mk4 R32, do it. They're a brilliant car, really nice to drive, better than the Mk5 in terms of driving experience, and they've got great styling. Another thing is they're going up in value. These Mk4s now are going to be a future classic. If you can get one at the right price, it's a good investment. Just another thing to think about, see if it qualifies for classic car insurance. Like I said, a lot of these are getting on a bit now. If you get one on modern classic insurance, it could save you a fortune.